Hi, I'm Max Blumenthal, and we're here today at the Senate Hart Building on Capitol Hill, where the American Foreign Policy Council is hosting an event with 4 heads of parliament from Eastern Europe. One of those figures, Andrej Parubi, who is the Speaker of Ukraine's parliament, is the founder of 2 neo-Nazi parties, the Social National Party and Patriot of Ukraine. And what I want to do is ask why this group is legitimizing a figure like Parubi, especially when anti-Semitism and anti-minority violence is on the rise in Ukraine. Before the June 27th event, Parubi held a friendly meeting with Representative Paul Ryan, the Republican Speaker of the House of Representatives. Parubi was in town to urge Washington to take an even harder line against Russia.
Putin understands only the language of force. And the language of diplomacy and negotiation is perceived by him as a sign of weakness.
Given that there is open anti-Semitism on display in Ukraine and anti-Roma violence, do you think it was a good idea to invite the founder of 2 neo-Nazi parties, the Social National Party and the Patriot of Ukraine? I'm referring to Mr. Parubi.
The question seems to be addressed to the American Foreign Policy Council, and it would be a serious question if it was based on facts. If you look, the founder that you're talking about had a Nazi death threat over him. He was in a Nazi prison, and there was an official U.S. government report at the end of World War II that exonerated his collaboration with the Nazis, so it's a non-issue. Next question.
He's also an admirer of Stepan Bandera, who is a Nazi collaborator.
Question back there to Steve Blank.
The host not only ducked my question, he issued a bizarre non sequitur defense of Stepan Bandera, a World War II-era Nazi collaborator and leader of a Ukrainian nationalist group that participated in the 1941 pogroms that finished off the Jewish population of Lviv.
In the Ukraine, pro-independence demonstrators took to the...
For decades, Ukraine has been torn between pro-Russian interests and those of the West. Tensions boiled over in 2014 when then-President Viktor Yanukovych rejected an austerity package that would have roped Ukraine into the Western economy.
Yanukovych, who has kept Ukraine closely tied to Russia...
But Yanukovych was soon removed in a coup encouraged by Washington.
People of Ukraine, this is your moment.
Since then, the U.S. has worked to oppose Russian influence and consolidate its own control over the country. So much so that it's been willing to bolster any and all allies that advance its agenda, even fascists like Parubi. Besides founding the Nazi-inspired Social National Party, Andrej Parubi helped start the Patriot of Ukraine, a racist militia that is playing a key role in the extremism consuming his country. Here's a propaganda video posted to YouTube by neo-Nazis that shows Patriot of Ukraine members assaulting migrant workers. The instability that followed from the 2014 coup has brought these fascist forces out into the open.
The Roma don't give a damn about the local population who've been living here for 200 years.
Fueled by decades of anti-Russian resentment, they're the vanguard of the fight against pro-Russian separatists in the East. And they're flexing their muscle in Kiev by deploying a so-called national militia. Following the Senate event, I spotted Michael Carpenter, a former State Department official who helped encourage the 2014 Maidan coup in Ukraine alongside his boss, then Vice President Joe Biden. Did you think it was a good idea to bring Parubi, who's founded 2 neo-Nazi parties, to the Senate, and for Paul Ryan to meet with him?
Look, I think Andrej Parubi is a conservative nationalist who is also a patriot, cares about his country. I don't think he has any neo-Nazi inclinations nor background. I mean, a lot has been made of this. Frankly, I think it's mostly Russian propaganda.
But it's not just the Russians who've reeled in horror at Parubi's far-right background. Eugene Robinson, a columnist for the Washington Post, described the party that Parubi founded as openly neo-fascist. And the Atlantic Council, the NATO-funded think tank that currently employs Carpenter, recently acknowledged that Ukraine's got a real problem with far-right violence, and no, RT, the Russian-backed broadcaster, didn't write this headline. For people like Carpenter, though, disturbing historical facts like these matter less than the chance to saber-rattle against Russia. So you don't think there's anything troubling about his views?
I think his views that he's articulated now are on the record and support, as I said, reconciliation with Poland, freedom and sovereignty for Ukraine, and I think that's a positive thing.
And anti-Semitism in Ukraine?
Trading in the old brown shirt for a three-piece suit has done wonders for Parubi in Washington. Indeed, the day after his Senate event, the Atlantic Council opened its doors to Parubi for another friendly forum.
If you liked the video you just watched, and you want to see more original reporting challenging the bipartisan foreign policy consensus, consider supporting us at patreon.com/Grayzone.